Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Good morning. Happy Saturday. This is an unusual early morning Saturday. Usually we take Saturday off, but we wanted to make a special live for you guys, not just to go over the market conditions. We'll go over that. Mortgage update. We'll go over that. We're going to go over all that type of stuff. But towards the end of this live, Jeff Mashburn is going to come on, and we wanted to interview Jeff again to you guys because Jeff has been helping us, predominantly Mitch, with this document. This document was sent out to you guys, made a video about 2 days ago. This is the short form criminal complaint right here. And we just wanted to interview Jeff, kind of just see how everything is going. Here's the 6 steps you have to take to fill out the criminal complaint. This is one of the highest downloads right now. This is absolutely amazing, you guys. We try to simplify, make it simple. How to fill out this criminal complaint. So it's there. He's going to be on here as well. So anyways, I hope you guys like it. I don't know about you, Mitch, but I'm super tired. I was up till 1 o'clock last night, like a fool, knowing I had a live. How are you this morning?
Good. There's quite a bit on the go. That form that we've got there is really a shrunken version of the full-blown criminal complaint. Our full-blown criminal complaint was 40 pages because of all the evidence attached. This is something that can be done by everybody very quickly. Travis did it the other day in 7 minutes flat. So there's simply no reason why somebody can't get it done in 20 to 30 minutes on their own power, just going to those internet links and seeing what's happening in their immediate neighborhood. And it is applicable across the United States. This isn't just Texas.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good form. I really hope you guys take advantage of it. So we're going to give him a shout out. We'll go over it a little bit more, but good morning to everyone. P. Nice. How are you, sir? I see Les. I see you, Les, in the comment section. Merlin, I always appreciate you dating, sir. Melissa, it's so nice to see you. Dean, I don't know who's fighting in the UFC tonight. Let us know. Monica, sorry I haven't called you, girl. I have been just trying to keep up. Good morning. There's my buddy Tom right there. Tom, let us know how the protest is going. Did you start the protest? Did you get your assessment notice? And are you ready to save some money? Love you, Tom. Thank you for being there this Saturday. And don't forget, you guys, after this live at exactly 10 o'clock, I'm doing a 3-hour seminar. So if you want to learn with me on how to protest your property taxes, hit the link in the description. I will be starting that 3-hour live. Sorry, seminar after this live. So let's get started. There's Charles. What's up, Charles? Good morning to everyone. Really love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're learning peace. Absolutely makes me thrilled that you're learning. I mean, this stuff is a little confusing, but we're talking about it so often. You guys should be absolute experts. They're talking to Les. Les, I told you, explain yourself, brother. Explain yourself. All right, here we go. So let's start with the market update real quick. We're going to take a look at how the market closed on Friday, starting with the Dow. So let's take a look right now, and then we're going to ask Mitch towards the end of this segment what we should do with our 401ks if we are worried about them. But here's the Dow ending basically sideways on Friday, but throughout the week, you guys can see it was up 2.48%. So the Dow did rebound a little bit for last week. Here's the S&P 500. S&P 500 ending up about 70.74%. It is up. Biggest winner, I'd say, out of the three. That's up 4.59%. Let's just double check here. NASDAQ up 1.26% to end the day on Friday. Actually, this is the winner here, up 5 days. So last week, 6.73%. Pretty decent gain there. Take a look at the VIX. VIX plummeted pretty much. Let me put the 5-day here so you guys can see. VIX plummeted pretty much every single day, now at $24. 2 lives ago, this was over $40, I think, hitting $50. So in what, about 2 weeks, this is chopped in half. That's very intriguing. Talk about a whiplash. Speaking of which, look at gold. Gold trying to get to $3,400 floor. Trying to, can't hold it. Right, Mitch? We expect this to get to 3,500 or what? I mean, gold's at 3,300 right now. That's pretty insane. What are your thoughts on this? Obviously, throughout the week, it was sideways. So no gains last week. Week before that, massive gains. What do you think is going to happen to gold in this coming week, Mitch?
If you look at the chart, there's actually a gap. So a gap occurs between a closing price and an opening price. And about 10 days ago, it jumped, and that created the gap. From a technical perspective, that means that gap is more than likely to fill. And that means that you're probably going to see another $100 downdraft. You're going to get fairly close to about 3,000, and then it's going to bounce, and it's just going to keep on moving. and it's all tied in reality to fear. So gold is an indication of volatility, and the volatility of the price. So you have volatility of volatility, which is implied volatility risk. And then the indication of the price when it's moving up means that the sovereign wealth funds or the countries themselves are buying gold because they're all in the same bucket. So China's got debt they can't pay off. The United States has debt, Britain, France, Germany. Every major country has followed what, unfortunately, our Federal Reserve has done. And that volatility also goes into where your question was, Travis, about these 401ks, but we'll get there in a minute. But that's what this is. So from a technical perspective, you'll see gold pull back, and then you're going to see it continue its run.
Very good, sir. I said thir. See how early it is? I can't even talk. I'm talking like my children over here, hanging out with them too much. I wish. Marcella, appreciate you. Marcella went to last weekend's seminar. She said she had a great time. She learned a lot. She's taking the information. Look at this is exactly why I wanted people. Part of the reason why I wanted people to take that seminar so that you can learn and teach your community. So she came to the one last Saturday and she is up. She's getting people up in arms as she should. She now knows the math and she has access to MLS. Marcella, it is a pleasure. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you. All right. So let's keep going here. So that
there's one other thing. So
yeah, go ahead.
With regard to the seminar, just so everybody understands what's happening on the Discord, it's really designed for those situations where people can help people because there's so many people. I mean, we're getting emails every 15 to 20 minutes pretty well around the clock. So it's hard to handle that amount of flow. What we're hopeful for is that we build a community of people inside that Discord who can help those other people, like that 84-year-old Mr. Hall. Be that type of situation. They need help. And I've been able to handle quite a few of them, but the volume is ratcheting up. So we need more people stepping up in that Discord.
I know, man. I mean, it's you guys, some of the emails that we're getting, I mean, it's people on the verge of bankruptcy, people on the verge of losing everything, losing their houses. And a lot of these people have given up hope, that are emotional. They reach out to Mitch and I as if, we can save them. And it's really heartbreaking. And I know that if we have enough people join a Discord with, build on a community with some rules, obviously we have the free Discord saying do whatever you want, but we needed to create something that it's a more safe environment to where predominantly people in distress could go. But also if you're an investor and you want to use the math to grow, you can go there. But really, these people are hurting out there and we need to be able to help someone and then have them be helped by a community of people that love other people and that are helping other people. That's what we're trying to do. Anyways, it's easier said than done. Here's Silver.
There's one other point. So
go ahead.
I was able to help. There were 4 people in foreclosure, pending foreclosure, like 10 days out. 3 of them, I was able to explain to them what needed to be done. They got it done. They went and found a pro bono bankruptcy attorney, put those properties into bankruptcy to give them enough time. It's called stay, S-T-A-Y, stay the process. So they were able to shut that down to give themselves enough time to get their situation straightened out. There was one case out of New York one fella had a house in Connecticut. I didn't understand how he got to that point because if he's got a house in New York and he's got a house in Connecticut, I didn't understand the nexus. But nonetheless, he had a pending foreclosure in Connecticut. So I explained him what to do. I sent him an email, detailed email. I don't know if he got it done, but 3 out of 4 in the exact same bucket. Not bad.
Yeah, no, it's not. The only thing I can think of, Mitch, is maybe they just don't think it can happen to them. I also don't understand, like, what happened to make them wait so long to get help? Why be on the final stage of foreclosure? I just don't. I don't know. Maybe they have. I don't know. But either way, we have a platform. So if you want to join the platform, the link is in the description. We would absolutely love to have you. Mitch and I are on there chatting as well. Here's Silver. Wait, anything else, Mitch, on that?
Silver is hanging in there. At the moment, it's going sideways. I looked at it yesterday, and I was kind of looking for a trade, and nothing came up. I mean, the market just wasn't moving. It's completely sideways. So usually that's called consolidation. And if it's consolidating, it's going to have another burst. More than likely, the downdraft that you saw is going to invert, and it's going to go up, and it'll just head well past 35. It's just going to keep on moving. It'll take time, but that's what's going to happen.
I meant about the Discord, sir.
Oh, no, you said silver.
Okay. No, I know. You know, I'm all over the place sometimes. All right. Anyway, so, you know, silver at $33. Obviously, I hit my price when I purchased silver. Here's crude oil ending at $63 a barrel. That's about sideways, down 2% for the 5-day period. You guys can see that right here. Let's keep going to the 10-year. The 10-year. Now, the 10-year went, I mean, this is absolutely shocking. Well, it's not shocking anymore, but there are massive movements in the 10-year right now, which are massively impacting residential mortgage rates. So the residential mortgage rates have been all over. 1 minute is skyrocketing. And when I say that, I'm talking about a one-day pricing change. If you guys have been watching these videos, you know that interest rates for mortgages are about pricing. The pricing is what changes every day, not the interest rate. The interest rate tiers change because the pricing changes, meaning how much does the rate cost you? Because remember, you guys, I could still get, hypothetically, I could still get someone a 4% rate, but they will pay $50,000 because that's the price of the rate. That's the example. But the 10-year right now up to 4.24. Let's see what it was. So for the 5-day, looks like 9% change, 9 basis point change in 5 days. CME is not working. I've been trying to get this to work all morning. It's not working. But I was going to show you guys, look, see, it's not working anymore. But what I was going to show you guys on CME is the market is now anticipating, and they're starting to anyways, anticipating that the decision for rates after May, I think is it the June or July one, they will potentially not cut interest rates. So you would see that right here, but something's wrong with CME. Now, part of the reason why the Fed is not cutting rates is because they shouldn't, but obviously inflation, it's well above, this is the 5-year break-even inflation rate. This is well above the Federal Reserve's 2% goal. We're at 2.32% right now. It got all the way up to about 2.64% about 2 months ago, February 13th. You see that here. From there, we've been making some progress, thank goodness. So far, so good. Now, before I get to the question and before we get to our first video, I want to remind you guys, okay, of the derivatives market. When we talk about the fraud and we talk about the debt bubble, or you're just at a party and you want to sound smart, you want to educate people, explain to them the issues with the derivatives market. You guys see that on your screen. We always want to cover this, okay? So to put this in perspective, there's a large difference in the notional value and the actual netted value of derivatives. So the actual value is roughly $12.4 trillion. But because of the way our system works and it's designed to leverage up debt at the cost of us, you and I, and our comfortable ability to live, they've levered that up, that 12 trillion to $600 trillion. And that's why you see, even if there's no news, the market can crash or the market could implode because it's so unhealthy. It's literally teetering right now on the brink of destruction. Look at the derivatives market. How is that fair, by the way? Are you guys taking advantage of this derivatives market? I don't know. I'm not. I know they're taking advantage of me. Also, wanted to show you guys this is the retirement asset total. All right. According to the Investment Company Institute, this came out March 20th, 2025. This is saying that we have roughly, and because this is important, right? A lot of people are asking, like I got my haircut the other day. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I got my haircut the other day and I was asking her if she was protesting her taxes. And she's like, oh, I don't know. You know, my husband deals with that. And I was like, have you guys noticed your 401k going down? And she just about sank, right? She's like, yeah, we don't look at it anymore because we're going down. I'm like, okay, have you thought about reinvesting it? So regardless, there's $44.1 trillion of 401ks and assets that are probably highly leveraged up. So if the derivatives market, Mitch, is 12 trillion, I wonder what it would be if they showed it on the $44 trillion in retirement assets. That derivative market is probably well over 600 trillion right now. Is the point I'm trying to make, okay? Because there's 44.1 trillion. I also wanted to point out where it was in the year of 2000. So 25 years ago, this has gone up about 4 times. So in the year of 2000, it was sitting at about 11.5 trillion. It's all the way to 44.1. That's about a 4-time come up in that amount of time. Mitch, I'm going to go back to you now. That is our quick market update, and I wanted to talk now about one of the most important questions facing Americans right now. There's a lot of anxiety, Mitch, and a lot of fear and uncertainty about 401ks, pensions, IRAs. Obviously, the different plans have different rules, different fees, different penalties, different things you can do. But if a mom and pop is worried about their 401k and their pension, they don't know where that money is being invested. Obviously, it's highly leveraged. What if you anticipate the market is going to crash 30-40%, Mitch, and say that happens in the next 6 months or a year, whatever, what type of good advice, safe advice can you give mom and pop if they wanted to reinvest their retirement?
I think we have to define what retirement is, but I want to take a step back on that 44 trillion worth of retirement assets. I don't believe that for 2 seconds. So here's the problem. You've got 153 trillion worth of total assets ever created since the founding of the United States of America. So they're claiming 30%, give or take, of all assets are retirement assets. That's mathematically improbable. And the reason why it's improbable is because if you look at the real estate taxes and then the fraudulent school district bond debt on top of those houses, it's the house value minus the fraudulent school district bond debt proves the point that what people think is a retirement asset, even if they're close to getting it paid off, is in fact not. It's a liability. As long as those bond debts are out there and that document doesn't take that into account, it doesn't take those two issues into account, it's an illusion. Those assets aren't assets. There's liabilities underneath the hood that they didn't add up. Then the next step would be, okay, if somebody's got a 401k, and I guess that's your question, Travis, and that 401k is levered or is not performing the way it's supposed to be, what do you do? Well, you've got to find out what your investments are in that 401k or that pension. And if you don't know, you've got to dig in, because on one hand, okay, if you've got 70% treasuries, just for the sake of conversation, treasuries are generally pretty flat. They don't have a lot of volatility today. But given what we know as the debt loads under the US national debt and the unfunded liabilities, treasuries are bonds. So you buy a treasury and say, I'm going to get a coupon on that treasury. Well, except that your face value can decrease if the treasury values decrease. And therefore, volatility can pick up. If there's a default, and that's the ultimate question here, if the US defaults, and at some point that is going to happen, there is no math to carry this. If they print, see, that's what people don't understand. Printing money is counterfeiting. And if you print money, you are going to cause hyperinflation. So hyperinflation is a devaluation of your purchasing power. The more they print, the more your purchasing power drops. The more the face value of the US treasuries drop, because de facto, it's a default. When you print money in order to pay off debt, it's a default. It just hasn't occurred in the regular thought process of, well, I'm still getting paid back. No, you're not. You're getting paid back with cheaper dollars. So that's part of the game that they play. And therefore, understanding what you have, flip side of the coin, if you've got a portfolio that's, say, 50% invested in precious metals, well, you're up. If you've got a portfolio that's invested in treasuries at the moment, you're just down a little bit. So you have to look at all these things and determine where you stand. You should sit down with a spreadsheet and say, okay, I own this, and this. Where's the volatility of price inside of all those items? You just simply look and say, okay, is this one moving? Is this risky? And then you have to make a determination overall. Are you better off being there, or are you better off going to physical precious metals? Or if you are very lucky and you know what you're doing in real estate, maybe there's something in your neighborhood where you can get a 12 or 15% rate of return. That's perfectly fine too. I haven't been able to find it on newer product, and I get 70 or 80 properties a day rolling through here. So the market is still difficult because everybody is chasing yield and they're pushing the prices up. And it's not a healthy market under that circumstance either. And the reason they're pushing the prices, just like they're pushing the prices in gold, is fear. They want their money out of the bank. They don't want the money sitting in the bank. Put in a piece of real estate with a 2% yield. And there are people that are literally doing that. It's crazy, but that's what they're doing.
It is. And I just wanted to warn people as well. I've been seeing a lot more complaints online throughout social media about new homes. Doesn't even matter anymore. Like, you know, who the new home builder is, Lennar, Perry. I mean, these new homes are absolute trash, Mitch, absolute garbage. I would never invest in a home that was built in at least the last 5 to 6 years. The amount of mold that is coming up from improper installation, it's crazy. Literally, people need to like research these homes before they buy them. You know, so on one hand, the home insurance is low on a new home, but when you're living in mold, I mean, do you really want to buy a house that's a mold house? Now, real quick, Raymond's my buddy. I've probably had a relationship with Raymond for about 2.5 years. Raymond's a purist, just like me. I believe in also living off the grid. Surprise, surprise, I'm on YouTube, right? That doesn't make sense. I love Raymond. Think he's a great person. And honestly, I've been pretty much self-employed my whole life, Mitch. I had a small 401k set up. I don't even have that set up. I believe that real estate is a big way to retire. But this is what Raymond's saying. Raymond says retirement doesn't matter. You will work until you're dead. He's got a fair point so far. He's saying he already lives like a prepper. I think that is a prepper. Nothing will change when I'm 30 years old and still broke. Is he wrong? And also, wait, the question is this, though. The question is this. If someone doesn't want to spend money on a retirement account, 401k pension, because they don't believe in the system, what could they invest in instead? Should they invest in land, an asset like a home? What's another method for someone to comfortably retire without setting up a retirement account?
It is a huge mistake for anybody that's got cash. You should have money 3 months hidden somewhere outside of a bank for emergency. At some point, these banks will collapse. My estimate is between 60 and 70%. And they shouldn't exist. They exist on the back of the Federal Reserve. So it's not a question of whether he's right or wrong. As time progresses, he's more right than wrong, because you simply can't trust the system. This isn't a system anymore. This is a full-blown crime scene. What's happening are criminal issues. And we've laid that out in the First Amendment to the criminal complaint. So one has to look at it from the standpoint of, how can I best protect myself? Well, the answer would be, yes, a piece of land. The problem with land is it's only worth what you can do with it. There's all these people online, oh, you can buy this piece of land for $1,000 an acre. Okay, that's great. Now, what are you going to do with it? You know, if you're going to grow cattle or whatever, that's perfectly fine. But you're also subject, and we have to understand that these taxing authorities have gone nuts. I know of a piece of land in Justin, Texas, that's worth about $5,000 an acre with an $80,000 an acre real estate tax value on it. So they've got a problem. The point of the matter is nothing is secure other than, in truth, either cash and or physical precious metals. The truth is, on the cash, well, you're losing value by the day. And the precious metals, you're gaining value for the most part by the day. Obviously, it goes up and down, up and down. But the government, both state and federal, have put its population in a position where the debts that they have created cannot, under any circumstance, be paid off. You could change that debt to 100-year debt, and all that you're doing is increasing the interest clock. So it's a fool's errand to say, well, we'll go from 30 to 40 years, because in certain states, do you know that they allow 40-year bonds? Well, even if you double it, you still can't pay it off. It gets worse, not better. They're going to have to take the hit at some point, or they're going to have to revalue that currency, one or the other. If they revalue, more than likely, they will go to some sort of precious metals standard, or commodity basket between precious metals and oil, something like that. But the bottom line is, this is going to get really rocky. Well, the best defense is stay as far out of the system as possible. And that means precious metals. And you can look it up online for those who want to go and bury it somewhere. There's something called Dirty Man Safe. It's a little tube, but you literally can stuff the tube.
Hey, Don't be telling people about my tube. Hey, I got Jeff on now. We got to kind of hurry because I got to go through the mortgage segment first. That means poor, not prepper. I'm sorry about that. And I really appreciate your support, Raymond. Raymond did his due diligence. He purchased a home. I want to say about a year ago. He purchased a home. He was texting me the whole time. I was looking at stuff. I was looking at his appraisal. I was trying to help. I mean, but ultimately, this man that you guys see right here, I mean, he worked hard, man. I mean, he worked really hard to find a deal, and he's cash flowing. And you know, he was set up to do that. I'm proud of him. And even though he was making the good decisions, you can ask him. I was still saying, I'm like, Raymond, I'm worried about you, right? I still can't give you my blessings, but I'm really glad you're doing the work, right? I'm really glad you're not using just your emotion, but I still can't give you my blessings. So I'm worried about you. I mean, that's just how I am, man. I'm worried, but he's doing well. Raymond, I keep doing well, man. I really appreciate the support. He's making a good cap on his rental right now. We have another super chat. We're going to move on to a video here in a minute. Trevor, appreciate your support. Mitch, several videos ago, I see you, Jeff. You talked about investing in small amounts of gold. Where and how do I do that, Travis? Where do I actually go to get the physical silver like you purchased? So here's some of the silver that I purchased right here. This is heavy. It's 100 ounces right here. The thing is heavy. If you want to know if it's really silver, put a piece of ice on that, and it melts the ice instantly. It's the craziest thing ever. But Mitch, can you remind me where did you refer me again to buy physical?
There's different sources. So out of Oklahoma, there's something called APMEX, APMEX, which is a very legit source. SD Bullion is legit. That's if you're into the bullion. So what Travis just showed you, that's bullion. If you're into coins, which coins come with a rather high premium as compared to the bullion. So apples to apples, you're better off, in my humble opinion, with the bullion. But APMEX is great. SD Bullion is great. You can deal with them, and SD Bullion and APMEX will actually sell to Canadians as well. So there's different things you can do, but those are great sources, and their websites are designed to accommodate people. They've got the live pricing on their websites. Their shipping fees are very little. Their insurance to ship is very little. They're designed to move product. Shift Gold is another one. It's a smaller player, not as good as website because they're more into the assisting people with their portfolios. But APMEX and SD Bullion, top of the line.
Okay. And Trevor, hopefully that helped. Thank you again for your support. Let's hurry up here. We are on for 27 minutes already. I'm going to put up our first video right now. This is just on existing home sales. Remember, you guys, interest rates are about 0.5 point lower than last year, and there was no flood of buyers like we were warned. You better go. I'm telling you, Mitch, I mean, you don't see it right now, but back in 2022 and 2023, a little bit in 2024, people were like, you got to buy a house right now. You have to do it right now. Interest rates go down a little bit. Everyone's going to flood to the market. Well, rates are down about 0.5 point and demand is less. So that the exact opposite happened. As rates are going down, it seems like demand is no longer there. Christy. See, Christy was one of the OGs, like Austin, Raymond, Jeff, and Christy. I was just wondering where you at. Where's Nikki at? My God, these are some of the OGs on right now. I appreciate you guys. Let me know that the audio is okay, but this is on the miss on existing home sales. I almost muted you, Jeff. I'll bring you in on the next segment, Jeff.
We also have some housing data just crossed the tape. Diana Olick has that for us. Diana.
Well, David, existing home sales in March fell a much wider than expected 5.9% from February to a seasonally adjusted annualized rate of 4.02 million units. Sales down 2.4% from March of last year, and that is the slowest March sales pace since 2009, the Great Recession. Now, remember, this count is based on closings, so it's contracts likely signed in January and February when mortgage rates were over 7%, but it was before the market volatility of April. Supply is rising fast, 1.33 million units for sale at the end of March, up nearly 20% from the year before. That makes a 4-month supply, which is still on the lean side. 6 months is considered a balanced market. More inventory and slower sales are starting to put the chill on prices. The median price of an existing home sold in March was $403,700. That's still an all-time high for the month, but it's only up 2.7% from last March, and that annual comparison is shrinking. First-time buyers made up 32% of the market, the same as last year. They should be around 40%. All cash dropped to 26% from 28% the year before, but investors held steady at 15% of sales. Sarah?
All right, kind of a bad combo. Weaker sales, higher price.
I'm sure those investors are making sound decisions, Mitch. They're not just investing at a 2% cap rate. They're not doing that. I'm going to bring in Jeff real quick. Jeff, I brought you in, Jeff, just because I couldn't see you sitting there by yourself anymore. I'm going to edit your mic settings. I couldn't do it to you, buddy. I got to go through the mortgage segment real quick, and then we're going to get to you, Jeff. I have the criminal complaint up. I already let the viewers know we're doing a special Saturday morning live right now. And I'm tired, man. I only slept for 4 hours because you've been such a help, so monumental with the criminal complaint. We know that you've been going after the school districts. You've been finding fraud. You've been exposing it. You are an absolute patriot. And I love you and I thank you. And we're going to get to that. But you know what, Jeff? First, though, how are you, man? Good morning.
I'm good, Travis. It's been the last week has actually been a whirlwind. A lot of new things are coming out regarding bonds and some new information. It's a lot. Been on the phone, I think, almost nonstop. I think the phone's growing out of my ear, literally. But a lot of good stuff. A lot of new little things we've discovered regarding the bond and elections on bonds, and trying to get a whole lot more people on board. And we got a lot more people we talked to, definitely interested especially down in your area and south towards the Gulf Coast. So that's good news. Word spreading, definitely. A lot of people getting really interested because we're getting closer to the bond election day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Travis, just before you dive in, Jeff, when you get a minute, pull up the April 24th letter. Just so you can discuss it and let everybody know what you've done, because that's crucial.
Give us a second. Hold on, guys. Let me finish.
I just wanted him to get it.
All right. Yeah, get that ready. I'm going to mute you real quick, just because there's some background noise, and we're going to get to the mortgage segment right here, you guys. Let me put a timestamp on that real quick. All right. So thank you for your patience, everyone. Thank you for your patience. I am in severe pain right now from lack of sleep and being overwhelmed by these really smart guys that you see right there. I'm not the smart one, man. I mean, I'm the camera guy that acts like a spaz on camera. Apparently people watch that. So here's mortgage rates. This is what they ended on Friday. This is the drop right here. That's a 9 basis point drop on conventional, a 10 basis point drop on FHA. So that's a significant swing in just one day. So a couple things I want to point out here. Remember, you guys, FHA, although for the person in the right situation, it's not the right loan. If you have great credit, down payment, no debt, it's not the right loan. But it is a loan, however, with a generally a much lower interest rate than conventional. You see that's a pretty significant difference. It's about 59 basis points. Another thing about FHA is it could have actually lower mortgage insurance. When you purchase a conventional, remember, conventional is heavily strict on credit. So if your credit is not generally 760, you're going to get pricing hits or LLPAs. And that also, LLPAs, a loan level pricing adjustment, it also affects your PMI. So you're going to have an interest rate hit and a PMI hit. In other words, look at both is the point I'm trying to make. Shop your lender. You usually have a 1 month grace period after the first credit inquiry. So make sure to shop your loan, because you will see that different companies offer different rates with different pricing. Now, here's the thing. Demand has not done anything. Okay, so what you're looking at here is the purchase demand, not refinance. So you're looking at purchase demand index right here. This orange line is interest rates. So I want to, and obviously this blue line right here is applications, okay, or purchase index. So you can see it's essentially for the last year, despite what interest rates have done, it stayed the same. And that's really astonishing, considering the rates back in a year ago were at 7.22%, and they dropped all the way down over a full percentage point to 6.08, and demand stayed the same, you guys. Okay, so we now know what's going to happen when rates go down. Well, I mean, if rates go down to 1%, maybe that's different. The reason that is because the price, something we've been talking about a lot, is the price. This is the PE ratio. This is from long-term trends. Different companies and data providers have different PE ratios, unfortunately. I don't know why that is. Everyone should have the same PE ratio because it should be raw data, but they don't do that. There's methodology. It absolutely sucks. But nevertheless, here's the PE ratio. We're in a giant price bubble. And quite frankly, a lot of Americans right now cannot afford to buy a house for that reason, because our income didn't go up. So you saw, again, massive blow up right here in prices. You saw we had that downdraft right there, but it rebounded because in my opinion, the bank term funding program and the additional deficit. But here's real median income adjusted for inflation. No one talks about this. All of the talking heads, they stop talking about this completely, as if income didn't matter. So to most people that are investing and giving investment advice, income doesn't matter to them, nor does debt. So income and debt, they don't even talk about it. They've removed those fundamentals from their advice. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Literally everyone has. So now that we can see things unravel, it feels a lot better. But there was a period there I'm like, am I the one that's crazy? Like, why is no one talking about this? That's why meeting you was so refreshing, Mitch. But look at guys, in 2019, adjusted for inflation, wages for the median household were about $81,000. You fast forward, a 3-year period goes by, wages go down. That's how bad the inflation is. So in other words, we just can't afford anything right now except to pay our debt and service it. I mean, they've literally turned us into the government has turned us into the same thing they are, a debt servicer. That's it. They surface debt and spend money that they don't have. They've turned us in, not me, but a lot of us, into that very thing. Tell me I'm wrong on that. Here's an amortization schedule right here. This is the most important thing when it comes to your mortgage. If you don't understand what you're looking at on the screen, step out of the housing market, don't invest. You must understand how this works, because this is the way, one of the ways, okay, I'm going to change how I'm saying this, oh, dang, Joe, to financial freedom. Okay, you pay your mortgage off, you're in a lot better situation. The problem with mortgages are, first of all, it stands for a death contract, is you never pay them off. If you keep refinancing, you start this schedule over again. You guys, let me show you how bad it is for a $324,000 loan at today's interest rate of 6.84%. You pay back $763,000. The total interest exceeds the loan. How is renting not smarter right now? Just right now, calm down. Okay, I want to buy a house. I want to be bullish on real estate. It's just the math doesn't work. What do you want me to do? Lie and say it works? It doesn't. It doesn't work. But if you're not careful, you end up paying back much more than what you borrowed. That's why it's so important to pay this thing off early. I'm going to give you guys an example of making 2 extra payments a year. So bi-weekly is 1 extra payment a year, but let's see what happens when you do 2 extra payments a year. Okay. So the payment's $2,100 times 2 is about $4,240. So we'll put, right, $4,240. Okay. So just 2 extra payments per year. That's it. Let's see how much you would save. I mean, it's crazy. You turn the loan into a 19-year loan. Is that crazy? And you save in interest you guys just learned how to save $171,000, unless you got a higher loan amount. If you got a lower loan amount, it would be less. But literally, I just showed you, and this is why I'm saying, don't go in the housing market unless you understand this really important stuff. $171,000. You guys will save it if you do what I say. You don't have to do what I say, but you certainly should. I'm not giving financial advice. All right, so I want to play a video. Hold on one second. Hey, why are you guys? Okay, you're unmuted, Jeff. I want to play a video. Mitch, you muted yourself. I'm going to play a video, but first I want to show you guys again. I want to remind you guys what Jeff did and what he's helped with. He's been pretty pivotal behind the scenes on what's going on here. So Jeff helped make this right here, the step-by-step process to the criminal complaint. This is, and honestly, and then I chopped it up. My job was easy, Jeff. All I had to do was just chop your work up. You guys laid the foundation. Mitch gave it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'll chop this up. Let me turn this into a 10-minute thing, you know? So I chopped the heck out of it. I'm sorry. I still love you. You had great work, but I chopped the heck out of this thing. And look at it. 1 page, Jeff. I mean, the instructions are easy. The only thing that we could add here is if I had mind control. I mean, this is so easy. I put the Google word searches in here for you guys. Look at Google. Look at this. You don't have to do anything except one step at a time. So Jeff has been doing this. Here's the steps right here. It's really just 5 steps. The 6th step is actually just filing the complaint. So it's really just 5 steps. And actually, this is just a long, complete this. So it's really just 4 steps of research. And this is what the form looks like. I also got to chop this. I felt like an attorney, only I didn't make any money. So that was weird. Should have made a lot of money for doing this. But I felt like an attorney because I also chopped this up like crazy. I don't know if you know that, Jeff. And then I gave it to Mitch, and then Mitch's like, no, I got to add some stuff back into it. But this is it right here, man. I mean, we may be able to change the world with this form right here, as long as there's enough people listening to us right now that take action. This will take you guys a half an hour. What Jeff did that was so great is he took a very complex situation and he dumbed it down for us. And he was like, Travis, Mitch, we're trying to change the world, right? We're fighting the big system right now. But what if we just narrowed down the violation into a cap violation? In other words, we can show in most states around the nation that these ISDs are illegally asking for too much bond debt. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, let's just stick with that. That way we don't have to teach people how to be an attorney, right? They could literally do it in 30 minutes. We could search how much bond debt there is, how much they're asking for. If it exceeds the cap rate, that's a violation. Turn them in. And I want to give it to you, Jeff. Can you just tell us, the status on your journey? Last time you talked to the viewers, you investigated, I think, 50 schools or something. You found millions of dollars in fraud. They're shutting down police departments. You're talking to the DOJ. You're talking to authorities. You are shutting down districts, my friend. What's new?
Probably the good news is more people are finding out. The word's definitely getting around. Talked to a lot of people this week. A lot of people really definitely interested in filing their own criminal complaint. The small version, scaled down version of the criminal complaint uploads have just skyrocketed in the last day and a half. That's good news because people are definitely wanting to get involved, and that's wonderful. And we need everybody on board to file their own complaint. This issue with the 25% cap has gone around to a lot of people. There's been a lot of rebuttal about it, that we're misinterpreting what the statute says, but I tell them they're totally wrong. It doesn't matter. They can play semantics with the wording all they want to, but Mitch and I have talked about this. It is debt regardless. The districts are obligating themselves, the taxpayers, to more debt regardless. And the funny thing, a lot of people that when I talk to them about this and they're finding out about it, they're going, wow, man, that only makes common sense. Well, that's kind of how the commonsense.law.org website name came about, because this is just common sense approach to capping debt and minimizing the debt and preventing the district from piling it up on top of us. So they're going to have a battle on their hand, and from a court standpoint, they can't defend themselves on what they're doing. It's totally corrupt and illegal. And I think more and more people are starting to realize what's going on now. The other thing that's happened that's really good too, and you and Mitch and I have talked about this, but people have realized now that their home is the collateral for the loan that we're giving the school district. So in a way, people need to realize that we're loaning the district money. We're using our collateral, our houses as collateral, but we don't get the benefit of making interest. The investors do. So the investors themselves aren't loaning the money. They're managing a bond portfolio. We're the collateral. Our homes are the collateral. We're making the payment back through property taxes, and we're on the hook for everything.
Groups could read.
So this is really starting to gel with a lot of people, and they're starting to understand it better, what's going on. Get that?
Very good, Jeff. I want to answer this comment real quick, but I also saw another comment where someone said the link is not good. You got to be careful what you listen to, right? Because it is what it is. So I just checked the link. I just wanted to show you guys. I just checked the link. I went to this property tax foreclosure skyrockets, and I just checked the link. And where is it? It's right here. So I click it, and it's working fine. So I'm not sure why it's not working for you. It's working for me. I could download this step by step. Here's a short form version. Here's the notes. It's actually also in the description of this video as well. I'm not sure why that link's not working for you. I'm really apologize about that. Jeff, I just wanted to veer off real quick, and I want people to know how to get a hold of you, but someone just sent us $100 super chat. So I want to definitely let them know that that is appreciated. And I want to see, in response to this, he's saying that first of all, Joe, thank you for your support, brother. I really appreciate that. Happy Saturday to you. I hope you're learning a lot. He's saying my grandfather amused a massive amount of wealth from his day as a commercial builder and developer, investor in Chicago and Miami. He built the Epcot Center, hospitals, and the John Hancock Building. He passed away at 93 and never really enjoyed retirement as dementia. Dang, that's hardcore. I didn't know that he was going to say. So what he's saying is, from what I can tell, is don't work yourself to death. Learn to appreciate life. And I think, Joe, you hear me say that all the time, Joe, and nurture your relationship. Spend time with your children, your friends. Don't work yourself to death. And here we are on a Saturday morning, right? Like, oh my God. So Mitch, you're also muted. So Jeff, what do you think about this comment from this man?
If I could go back and do anything over in my life, I definitely would spend more time with my family and my children. For sure, I'd make that priority. I sense his emotion there and what he's saying. But yeah, we have to enjoy life. And one of the ways we can start enjoying our life better and have less stress and mental stress is getting the government off our back. And that's why this is so important for us to fight this bond issue and this corruption, so we can have a quality of life and enjoy life without being stressed out that they're going to come take our home away. So,
and I want you to tell people how to get a hold of you. But Mitch, what do you say, Mitch? What do you say? Should we work ourselves to death, Mitch? What time are you waking up in the mornings, Mitch?
And I'm usually in the office between 2:30 and 3.
Yeah, I know.
But Jeff is right. I mean, at the tail end of the day, right now, this is pivotal, at least for me to be doing this. And there's no money in this for me, obviously, but it's a necessity. And I've done an awful lot of things in my life, in my career. I've had thousands of tenants, and I see things through their eyes, and I'm just a monkey in the middle, right? I'm a property developer, a builder, an investor. I'm only as good as my tenants can pay rent. And if they can't pay rent, I'm done. And that's pretty well where we are. That's why we had to make this decision. And this is what Leslie and I had come to a few years ago when we finally decided, okay, that's it. We were going to have to go full throttle. And then the attorneys agreed. So we are where we are. We're raising awareness as fast and as best we can. But it's a necessity at this point, because more than likely, if the politicians do not get involved, this system, in quotes, because it's not a system, it's a crime scene, but it will break. And when it does, there will be no spare for anybody. Everybody's going to get hit. It doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or a person who just goes to the grocery store and buys groceries, you're going to get hit. So our goal is to warn people that this is coming. It's clear. The math is irrefutable, and we have to do what we have to do. And that's kind of where we are. So I agree with the comment 100%, but this is all hands on deck at this point in time. Jeff, you touched on the 25%. I want to point something out. So in the Texas law, there's a 25% cap on all bonds that are being raised. A handful of people said, well, no, but we interpret another clause in another document to say X. You can interpret anything you want, but here's the bottom line. The Attorney General for the state of Texas is the sole party in law responsible to ensure that there is revenue necessary to pay those bonds. That has not happened, whether it be by intent or by ignorance. I don't know. I don't care. He is an attorney. As an attorney, he is deemed a party of knowledge. He has failed, period, end of paragraph. It's not a personal thing. I do not know Mr. Paxton. I have no problem sitting down and having a cappuccino with him. But the bottom line is, anybody that says that that 25% is not applicable is an idiot. It is applicable. It is law. And anything that they have to say contrary to that simply denotes why that 25% is there to begin with. You can't simply say, well, it's there, but we're going to ignore it because of this. You don't get to do that. You don't get to ride both sides of the fence. And the math doesn't support you. We've got the evidence that's in the criminal complaint, the First Amendment to the criminal complaint and the criminal complaint that have been filed with the DOJ and the SEC. And over and above that, Travis, I want Jeff to go through the last paragraph on that letter that he sent to the school district, because it nails them, that school district. And this is applicable across the United States. I want everybody to understand how this occurs. You can do it. You've got the full power to do it. So when you and Jeff decide to do that, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, and this was a follow-up comment from Joe right here. He's saying he didn't overspend, speaking to his grandfather. He bought properties, always did taxes, yelled at us to save. I love this guy already. I'm used to the same thing. I mean, save your money, stop spending, right? I mean, that's how we should raise our children, I think. We could have lived, he could have lived very carefree, but chose not to. I mean, that's such a regret from so many men and women of power. If you ask, like, what is your one regret? It seems like it's always relationships. I should have spent time with the people that I loved. So we may want to take that advice, right? Spend some time with the people that we love. So come and hang out, Mitch. We yelled at him to spend his money. See how that there's a difference there. So Joe, again, thank you for the support. I got one more super chat, and then we'll go back to you, Jeff, here. This is from Raymond. FHA forbearance ending, going to have some deals. Okay, and thank you for the help again and support, Raymond. So yeah, FHA is just it's in a mess, you guys. What you're saying is you see the same trends as you saw during the GFC. The less money down and the lower your credit, the higher likelihood of default. I mean, it's the same thing every single time. That's why you guys see the VA loans, which, by the way, I think veterans, I won't go there, but I think veterans should be protected personally. But nevertheless, VA loans are exploding with defaults because it's a 0% down payment. FHA is exploding with defaults because it's generally the second lowest down payment at 3.5%. And it's the most flexible loan. You can get approved for that loan at 56.99% debt to income ratio. So basically 57% debt to income ratio of your gross income. Oh, by the way, at VA, you could go over 56% so long as there is. I've seen VA loans done at 57 because they calculate residual income. So the whole thing is messed up. Jeff, what do you got for us? Oh, first, Jeff, tell the people where they can find you. And then when you're ready, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. So the website is commonsenselaw.org. And that's where we're posting all the stuff, the links to everything, the videos, Mitch's website, my website, everything we're trying to do. We're trying to post it to get it in front of the public's eyes so they know what's going on. And not only the people that want to know to get involved know what's going on, but we're letting everybody that's on the other side that we're trying to expose know that we know what's going on. And other people are finding out. So that's one of the big things is nobody can hide from this information now. They're guilty. They're knowledgeable. In court, they're going to have a hard time to defend themselves if they say, well, we didn't know about this because everybody else knows. So that was one of the reasons for doing the website. My email address is up there as well. They can contact me through email. I'll have to say this right now. I'm like everybody else. And Mitch, I can only respond to so much. I'm trying to post stuff as it's relevant and as updates on most current information. A couple things just, and I don't even know if I've even had a chance to discuss this with Mitch yet. I've talked to so many people. So one of the things that's come about in the last few days, it's very important. There's already been, I do know I've talked to Mitch about this. There has been discussions about people that have been put into financial danger or harm, or bankruptcy or losing a home, about filing lawsuits against the school districts. But not only the school districts, but even the taxpayers within those school districts who voted on the bonds. So this is getting into some new territory as far as the law and lawsuits. But you not only got school districts that are corrupt putting these bonds out that they can't afford, you have taxpayers going along with them who are ignorant. Nobody has the right in America to put another person in jeopardy of getting their home taken away from them. Nobody has that right. It's guaranteed underneath the Constitution. That's what's going on. So with that in mind, we started kind of laying out the groundwork of how would you lay out this lawsuit and get it started? Well, one thing that came up the other day when my wife and I went to go early vote, we talked to the election hearing judge at the polling spot that was monitoring the ballot. And at the time I was there, and I was talking to this gentleman that's who's proctoring the ballot process there. The county election chair walked in the door. So I asked them, now this is going to really get people excited. I asked him, I said, when can we have the certified copy of the ballot results? He goes, okay, well, May 3rd, at the end of May 3rd, we're going to collect all the data, the ballot. We're going to download it from the computer and system. We'll take it back to my office, which is in the county, and we're going to certify it. And I can give you an electronic copy of it, and then it will be posted on our website. I asked them the question, in the certified ballot, now you got to remember, we're in a very small rural district where we're at. There will probably be less than 200 votes cast, in my opinion, definitely less than 300. And I asked this gentleman, does that ballot record the yes, no votes with the name of the person who cast the vote? I always was under the impression, because we have to show our voter card, our driver's license, everything, that my vote and my name is tied together. That is not the case. The votes are not tied to a name. And that is a problem, I think, from a legality standpoint, because now how do you bring charges against taxpayers who put you into bankruptcy if you don't know who they are and what they voted on? So that's started a whole nother conversation, and it is an issue that I believe brings a huge question of legality to our system of voting. And there's a gentleman I've been in contact with, Mitch has been in contact down in South Texas, Kevin Henry, who's been fighting electioneering and voting fraud for a while. And I talked to him about this yesterday. There's been a conversation with Ken Paxton's office this week. It's still an open-ended conversation with his office. I gave them a list of questions to talk to them about and ask about bonds. They couldn't answer some of the questions. And this is Ken Paxton's right-hand person. And not that we're trying to put her on the spot. We're honestly just asking the questions. These are things she wasn't aware of, didn't know the answer to. And they're going to get back with us. But the question and the issue that Mitch brought up earlier, the TEA Chapter 45 code says that Ken Paxton is the signature line for all debt issued in the state of Texas. If that's the case, the question that we asked them in their office is he aware of every bond being put forth on May the 3rd in the state of Texas? And I can tell you right now, the answer is no. They have no idea what's being put forth. But he is the signature line of the debt. He has to sign off on it. So they're looking into this. And that's a huge problem, because if nobody at his level, at his office, is monitoring what's going on, who is accountable at that state level? So these are questions that we're asking right now, and want to know, okay, are you, Mr. Paxton, or somebody in your office going through every bond and validating that every bond issued is legitimate, realistic, can be paid back by the taxpayers? No, I can tell you right now, the answer is no. So we have a system in place right now that is literally out of control with no check and balances. And that ought to get everybody concerned, make them concerned about what's going on. So a school district and their administrators in the state of Texas, under the current system, can allow bonds to go forward and be voted on and put you as a taxpayer in jeopardy of losing your house, and you don't have anything to say about it. And that is a pretty scary thought. It's something that's come out and really got a lot of attention to people here in the last couple of days.
To that point, on the First Amendment to the criminal complaint on page 3 is a graph, and that graph shows the outstanding fraudulent school district bond debt divided by the median household value. And when you look at that, in the case of Argyle, Texas, you have $343,000 in outstanding fraudulent school district bond debt against the median home value of $450,000. Godly, Texas, $120,000 of fraudulent outstanding school district bond debt divided by the median home value in Godly, Texas at $160,000. When you look at these ratios and you understand what's going on, that's on page 3 of that First Amendment to the criminal complaint. The net result is if Ken Paxton was doing his job, none of that would have happened.
Exactly.
Zero. If they had adhered to the Texas Education Agency Act, none of that would have happened. Zero. It has happened, and that proves the guilt. Now, the question is, what are they going to do about it? And that's
Right.
where Jeff is hammering, and we'll get into a memo that he sent over to the ISD in a few minutes.
So the chart that Travis has up right now is an older version of the chart, but it still has good information there. And this spreadsheet that's out there now has gotten a lot of people's attention for sure. The newest, I don't know, Travis, if you have, I think it's Rev 5 of that table. It's got some additional columns we added. And what's really got everybody even more interested now is the 28 school districts that's in the latest version of that table. We took the debt that's reported by the Texas BRB website currently against the debt reported by the Texas Education Agency School Foundation Program website. And in 28 school districts, there's a delta of just short of $24 billion in those.
Jeez.
In 28 school districts out of 1,000 something school districts in the state of Texas, there's a
28 billion?
24 billion difference in the two numbers. So knows who is right and who's doing what? So this is a huge problem. And this is one of the reasons we're really hoping to hear back from the SEC very soon, because they've already investigated bond fraud in the state of Texas and discovered bond fraud, and they know it's happening, but it's happening at a mass scale. And I think this is really going to wake up a lot of people when they see just how widespread the bond fraud is, and that we have agencies within the state of Texas whose numbers are so far apart, it's not even funny. Mitch asked me to talk about the letter that went to Itasca.
Yeah, do you want to email me that letter real quick so I can show the viewers?
I think you have it. I sent it to you, but
it's probably, I got a couple hundred. Can you send it? Mitch, do you want to go over anything on this chart?
Give me a second. I'm going to send that to you.
Okay.
All right.
So,
send that to me.
yes, a couple of things. First off, do you know that Governor Abbott is the chairman of the Bond Review Board? And when we created that chart, a day later, I created the First Amendment to the criminal complaint to pick up this chart and put it as page 3 of the First Amendment to the criminal complaint. And that was done because Governor Abbott is the chairman of the BRB. How in the world is there a $24 billion difference between the left hand of the state of Texas and the right hand? Who's the right hand? Texas Education Agency. The delta is between the Texas Education Agency and the BRB, the Bond Review Board, which Governor Abbott is the chairman. I would love to know firsthand, Governor, why are you the chairman of the Bond Review Board? For what purpose? And I think you owe an explanation to the public. I also think you owe a resignation of the Bond Review Board to the public. I think the whole thing stinks. And
okay, Travis, you should have that.
I have it. Yeah, it's sorry, Mitch. Finish what you were saying. I have it, Jeff. Were you done talking, Mitch?
Yeah, sure.
Really? That's not like you. You sure?
Well, I'm okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I just was saying that I believe that Governor Abbott owes an explanation to the public. I believe he owes his resignation to the public with regard to the Bond Review Board. And as I said, this isn't personal. But when you look at the numbers, Governor, you've got a problem. When you look at the law, Governor, you have a problem. Your entire administration does. You might want to pick up a phone and have a meeting.
When I saw that Governor Abbott was part of Colonial Ridge in Cleveland, that's a community right up the street from where I live, and I've made five videos on this community. I still get emails. Travis, go do a video on this community. It's called Colonial Ridge, and it's a hotbed for illegal immigration. And this is one of the first times in at least the last 20 years where I found a place in America where I was like, man, if you're an illegal immigrant and you come here, you're worse off than where you came from. It's It's that bad in Colonial Ridge. I've taken Melody right there. Man, when I took Melody there, we were just coming off of a trip. I think this was when we went out to the East Coast, and we came back. She met my family, and we stopped at Colonial Ridge. I mean, and we had just this. It was just absolutely disgusting. These manufactured homes in there were blown up. They have bullet holes in them, and they're blown up. It's crazy. The foreclosure rate is like 40% foreclosure rate. So they sucker these people. But anyways, my point in saying that is when I found out the developer of that horrible community donated $1.5 million to Abbott, I was like, oh my God, he really is corrupt. And this is my opinion. I don't have any proof of this, right? So don't come at me. But it's in my opinion that he is without doubt a corrupt politician. Jeff, I'm sorry, brother. Whenever you're ready. Oh, I have the letter here. By the way, I love this letter. Yeah, I do have this letter. This is a great letter. I have it up on the screen whenever you're ready, brother.
Okay. So the purpose of this letter, and this is for everybody who's going to start the process of challenging school districts or anybody legally and with these type of issues, is you want to create a paper trail. So part of the reason for this letter, part of it is a paper trail for court documents. So they can't deny they didn't know the information. They can't deny that we've requested this information. And with this particular district of Itasca ISD in North Central Texas, since 2020, they have refused to cooperate with us in every way possible. So it's a paper trail. But this particular letter was to go back and recap and ask for some additional information that the district hasn't posted on their website on a budget amendments, legal documents. They've amended the budget because we called them out on some issues last fall, and they've amended the budget, and they've amended the budget now twice, and there's no record on their website of what they've done. They keep it hidden. They've also amended a contract with a solar farm under a Chapter 313 agreement, which is very interesting because part of what we call them out on is some money they received, $750 something thousand in a check from a solar farm company that's not accounted for in the budget. So these were to go back and recap some issues that are outstanding. But on the second page, it pertained to some open matters and issues regarding the bond program specifically. So one of the things that we're really making people very aware of right now is you have 100 and something school districts in the state of Texas that we know of that have put bond referendums forward on May the 3rd. Every one of those bond referendums, without excuse, are fraudulent. 100% fraudulent. They're fraudulent based on the information they put forth when they advertise it on their website and their numbers and their funny math they use for their tax rates and the value that they're telling you they want, without bond rates, bond terms, their property valuations, their projections of the tax rate per one, all based on fraud and deception. But to make it even more complicated and more corrupt is what's going on in Austin, Texas right now in the legislative session are all the amendments, all the changes in the bills put forth to increase homestead exemptions, the vouchers of Governor Abbott. He's proud of his voucher, and they're going to pass the voucher. That creates a huge problem for school districts because now, if the homestead exemptions do move forward, every bond put forth right now is illegal because it changes the tax base and the money available. When you start exempting and go from 100,000 to 140,000 or even 200,000 that Dan Patrick has mentioned, think about what that means to each school district. Your tax base, your money available just dropped tremendously. The voucher program is another huge issue for school districts, and it is tied into bonds. There's a connection between the vouchers and the bonds simply by this. If the voucher system is put in place, the bill's passed, goes forward, and you allow a parent to take their child out of school and take $10,000 with them, in the state of Texas right now, depending on what database you want to use, the average cost of educating a child in Texas is somewhere between $12,000 and upwards to $20,000 a student. Okay. In our little school district of Itasca, based on their own budget, our cost per student in a little bitty rural school district, a 2A district, is $17,127 a student.
Must be
So
good
here's
school
the
district.
question. Here's a question. If you take $10,000 away to give it to the parents to go put their kids in private school, what happens to the other $7,000 for the empty chair in that classroom? You've got an empty chair now. You've got $7,000 for a kid that's not even in that classroom. And you've got school districts that want to build new schools when we have declining enrollment all across Texas, and that's going to get worse. Every bond proposal where they want to build in schools because they're projecting increase in enrollment is a total fraud. It is a total fraud. So the state is working against the school districts, and it's fraud against fraud, literally. I mean, nothing's solid. There's no solid math to work from. It's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, basically, I called them out and told them in this letter, if you move forward with your bond as you're proposing, you are committing a criminal act to defraud the taxpayers right now.
Well said. Well said. We got about 10 minutes, and then we have to sign off because I have to get ready for the seminar. Mitch, follow-up questions for Jeff. And you're okay.
Jeff, just go through the last paragraph due to the issues, because that pretty well lays the groundwork against the school district, but it also lays the groundwork for mom and pop across the United States to understand you can put your school district in a box literally in 2 pages. This is the document to follow. You can adapt it for your own purposes. Doesn't matter if you're in Washington State, doesn't matter where you are. The crimes that are happening with regard to these bond raises are uniform and universal, and your school districts are 100% culpable in theft of mom and pop's money through the taxpayers, being the taxpayers through the system. But Jeff referred to it as a system. I'm now referring to it as a crime scene. This is all evidence-based.
Yes.
So Jeff, just start at that one point and lay
So
that
the very
out.
last paragraph.
Yeah,
So-
very last paragraph, due to the issues that have been exposed.
Yeah, so efforts and consideration are underway at this time by the taxpayers, meeting with state leaders to enact or put forth a stop measure to prevent the bond referendums from being voted on May the 3rd. This is due to the issues that have been exposed regarding bond fraud and corruption by the Justice Department. We have no other choice. The state has refused to listen to us. So we had to take it to the federal level and to expose it. The feds, the SEC has already been involved by exposing fraud that's already happened. So there's already a precedent already set in Texas, which is very important that we found out. But we have to stop this, and you need to people be making, at the very least right now, everybody should be picking up the phone, calling Ken Paxton's office Monday morning nonstop to tell them to stop the bond referendums from going forward, because everything they're doing right now is committing fraud based on their own documents and their own publications and what they're doing themselves. So these are serious issues, and you can stop it. The taxpayers can stop this. You need to let your voice be heard. I would call Ken Paxton. I would just nonstop redial until you get somebody to talk to you. But there is time to put a stop and issue a stop measure to prevent the bond from going forward. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So that was part of the purpose of this letter, is to recap, put them on notice. This went to their lawyers, so their lawyers are aware. And if they're lawyers and they understand what's going on, they understand they're breaking the law. They can't deny it. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows that if these homestead exemptions move forward, every piece of data that they base their bond referendums on is invalid. It's nullified.
And it's one step deeper than that. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that Dan Patrick is also on the board of the Bond Review Board.
Yes.
Dan Patrick is behind this idea of, well, we'll help the seniors out by $200,000 exemption.
Yeah.
The problem with the exemption, what he's not saying, which is fraud by omission, is the idea that, well, if you give an exemption on one hand, the debts didn't go away. The bond debts didn't go away. Same amount is still due and owing. Therefore, it's shifting the liabilities from that taxpayer onto the remaining taxpayers. Although it may be a fraction, and although the intent is, in theory, it sounds like, well, he's doing the right thing for seniors. The point is that the exemptions themselves are a fraud. There is no exemption. You idiots created this debt. This debt cannot be paid. The homestead cap, the exemptions, all this nonsense is nothing more than tinkering because you didn't move the debt. It's an illusion. You are creating fraud on the public. You are creating an illusion because the debt is increasing. Every time they go out and raise more money, also in violation of the TEA, and Ken Paxton has a problem with that, but every time they raise more money, that means that the debt is cumulatively compounding because the interest rate in and of itself is compounding.
Right.
So it's compound cumulative. And then the school districts say, well, we need more bond money. Here's the bottom line. They raise more bond money. They need more bond money. Not 10 cents is going to the children. It's going to pay interest. Give me more money. I'm going to use that money to pay the interest on the prior debt. You know what that's called? It's a Ponzi scheme. They have no defense for this. At some point, one of two things is going to happen. This is going to get in a courtroom and people are going to jail, or the system is going to blow to shreds and it will take down everybody in its path. And Travis, to your point about that amortization schedule, I've been thinking about it while we're standing here. Can you imagine how much money you would save yourself if, in fact, you were able to purchase houses at 40 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents on the dollar? We're likely to have a 40% pullback. We're pretty close to 20 in multiple municipalities across the United States. If it hits 40, well, think of how well you did when you bought it at 60 cents on the dollar and stick that in your amortization schedule. You're so much further ahead. And look at everybody else that bought at these high ends of the market, subject to this nonstop bond raising, which is a straight up fraud. This cannot be paid back. The world is upside down by virtue of fraud, and it's fraud by omission. And that is what Jeff has laid out. They're not telling the public what they need to know. No term on the loans, no interest associated with the loans. So it's no bond schedules, no notes to the balance sheet. It's all this evidence isn't there because they're hiding it. That means it's being done by intent, and that's in violation of the TEA. They have no defense. They're caught.
All right, real quick, guys, because I have to get out of here for that seminar. I just wanted to let the viewers know, and then I want to end on you, Jeff, give you the last words, and Mitch the last words. But just real quick, guys, don't forget some of the stuff that we've put together is this website right here. It's realestatemindset.org. I'll take them to Mockingbird here in a second. But this is realestatemindset.org. Pretty much everything is free here. This is a seminar that I'm going to hold here in about 50 minutes. So if you guys want to join me on this seminar, this is the last one I'm doing for this year. It's freaking hard to do, man. It's so much information we're about to cover. So if you want to join it, it's right there. But if you don't, that's okay too, because we have other courses here on how to end property taxes. Now, if you guys want to learn about real estate, just take these two courses right here. This is how to do a market analysis. So just learning the math and stuff like that. And then this one is just understanding the process of purchasing. Remember, guys, I have 20 years of experience as a realtor, loan officer, and a continuing education instructor for Texas. So I put a lot of my heart and soul into this. This is free stuff you guys have here. And not only are those courses for free, meaning it's just basically a class, the documents are free as well. So don't forget to come here to do that. Here again is the seminar. If you guys want to come here, the link is in the description. You guys should be able to find this. Here's a little bit of our Discord. Oh my gosh, I can't go on my Discord right now. But we have two Discords. Here's the Discord with the subscription. Here's the free Discord right here. Everything is in the description and linked. Jeff, let me throw up real quick your website, and I want to give you the last words. Not the second to last words. We'll give Mitch the last words, but one more time. Here's Jeff's website. I'm telling you guys right now, this man has been knocking stuff out on your behalf behind the scenes. He's an absolute patriot. This is his website right here. Show this man some support. He's definitely been supporting you he wouldn't be on the show right now. Jeff, I just wanted to say, and I'll give you the words here. I really appreciate all your effort to help us handle this issue. What would you like to say?
Well, first of all, it's just been a joy and a pleasure to get to work with you and Mitch, and now there's more people following they're on board with this to try to help get this done, and that's just a huge blessing and a relief, because for so many years, I know Mitch and myself, we feel like we've been the Lone Rangers out there until we got in touch with each other, and but there are huge, bigger issues involved with all of this, and I keep bringing this back up because I believe it's as true as anything about this. We have a document that governs this nation called the Constitution, and we have a Bill of Rights, and it's been trampled on, stomped on, and trampled on at every level of government, including our state and our state leaders, and we're going to have to stand up and fight for it. And so a lot of these issues may become constitutional battles in Supreme Court before it's over with. But I knew there was a quote out there that I remember as a child and a young person reading, because I'm a history buff, that was out there that I was trying to find, and I actually found it this week, and it's on the website. You put it up there. The greatest tyrannies are always perpetrated in the name of the noblest causes. And that's by Thomas Paine. We have school districts out there who are using emotions and pleas of, well, we're doing this for the kids. We're doing this for the kids, to hide their fraud and their corruption and their Ponzi scheme. And that quote couldn't be more applicable to the public education system in Texas than anything I can find. And you got to think about that. What are we really doing here? We're stealing from mom and pop. We're putting people out on the street so teachers can have a job, and we can make bond investors money, and with our homes at risk and our rights being trampled. These are important things to understand. If we have a future, and our kids and our grandkids have a future, we better get back and open up some history books, and we need to go back and start learning some things that the public education is not teaching us and not teaching your kids. Because if they were teaching us the truth and what's real, we wouldn't be talking about this today.
Well said. Thank you, Jeff. Mitch, you want to say "c'est la vie" to everyone?
These are tough times, and they're going to get a lot tougher. The whole purpose of what we're doing is to try to explain to people what's happening and give them the opportunity to exit out of, quote, the system as best they can, understand what's happening, and understand why that exit, the further away from these problems, the further away from the banks you are, the further away from the credit loan obligations, the credit default swaps, all the derivatives, which are underneath the hood of the banks. The further away mom and pop is from any of this nonsense, the better chance they stand of being able to survive the blast that's coming. Mm-hmm. And it will happen. That's how the math works. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when.
Well said. And guys, I'm going to get you guys out of here. I just wanted to challenge each and every one of you viewers to love somebody today. If you want to make some sacrifices, sacrifice anything you're doing to go spend some time with your loved ones. If you don't have any loved ones, not everyone does, go help somebody. Go to a youth center, senior citizen center, and start nurturing some relationships, and remember what life's about. And I want to tell you guys another thing. It's okay to be disciplined. It's okay to save your money. It's okay to walk away from a purchase, rebudget. Don't be going out to eat. I hope you guys have a great Saturday. Join us next week. Jeff, I love you. You guys don't forget to go to his website. He's got a ton of links. Also go to Mitch's website. Visit this link. If you want to join me after this live and watch me show you how to protest value, do it. If you don't, I have a course as well. Either way, we made a lot of stuff for you. Take advantage of it. And other than that, guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, you guys already know we wish you luck, and we hope you win. Thank you, guys.